What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. So I saw an interesting post from one of my Facebook friends who's also an autism parent, right? And she was speaking about the concerns that many autism parents have, right? I'm a parent of an autistic 3-year old son, and she's a parent of an autistic child as well. I don't know how old her son is. But she spoke about, worrying if people will mistreat your child when you're not around, right? And that's something that's a fear that I've had for a long time, even though my son is only 3, and a fear his mother has expressed. And, these are things you worry about, right? Because you come to find in this world, a lot of people aren't knowledgeable about autism. There are a lot of people that think that you can just yell at a child and it'll fix every single thing dealing with an autistic child. There are a lot of people that don't understand that, when your child is fussy, when they're upset, when they're frustrated, it's because they can't communicate their wants and needs at times. So you have to be patient with them to try to understand what they're trying to communicate to you. My son will only say "dada, mama, no." He'll say certain small little words here and there. He does not talk in sentences at all, right? And so a lot of times he'll pull us towards things that he wants. He'll reach for things that he wants. He'll, point to certain things or certain things like that. And if you're not patient with him, excuse me, you might just think he's just being whiny, and he's not whining. He's really just trying to communicate as best as possible. He's trying to communicate to you what he wants and what he needs as best as possible because he doesn't speak. There are people who don't understand this in this world, and they won't be patient with your child. They'll just get upset, which will further make your child upset, and then the whole situation gets worse. And that's why I do want to spread awareness and spread knowledge about autism, so that people can understand that when my son is stimming, when he's making sounds, it's not just because he's just making noise just to do it and aggravate anybody. He's doing it because he's trying to regulate himself. He's overstimulated, and he's trying to regulate himself currently. So he's making noises to try to get himself back regulated. He's not doing it just to make noise or just try to be messing with somebody just to make the sound, just to make it. That's not the case. But there are people who don't understand this, right? And so you might have some people that just try to chastise your child because they think he's just trying to do something to do it, and you're telling him to stop. And he's not stopping because he's trying to regulate himself, not because he doesn't want to take your advice, or he doesn't want to take your discipline. He doesn't want to listen to you. He wants to do what he wants to do. It's not that. It's that he's trying to regulate himself. You know what I mean? And so these are the wonders that a lot of parents of autistic children. That's what a lot of us go through. It's what a lot of us go through. My son goes to school currently at a school for autistic children, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm still paying attention to the school he goes to, and paying attention to how my son comes home and calling and make sure everything is all good. You still have your apprehension, or you still wonder if your child is being treated correctly, right? But I'm glad he's at a school with trained professionals who understand autistic children and understand that they communicate a lot differently than kids who are perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Perfectly developed children. Autistic children communicate in a whole different way. You know what I mean? And so in this world, a lot of us worry about if our child is being treated correctly. Are people being mean to them, harsh to them? That's why I don't let my son just go anywhere with anybody. My son, he either with me, he with his mom, he's with my mother or my sisters. But he's not with a lot of other people because other people, oftentimes, some of them may not have the patience. They are not used to dealing with him. They're not used to dealing with a child who has autism. And so they don't understand how this goes and how, autistic children communicate in a different manner. And so, I have to educate some people on it and bring him around certain people for them to get an understanding. You know what I mean? But even as a parent, when we're with our children, we're taking them to places, taking them to restaurants. You're taking them to an amusement park. You're taking them to a family outing. You're taking them to a aquarium. You're taking them to the zoo, etc. Or you're taking them on a plane ride. These things can be difficult for parents of autistic children because sometimes your child may start stimming. He might get overstimulated. He might get frustrated. And then you worrying about other people looking at you and you're looking at your child and thinking, oh, he can't get his child in order. She can't get her child in order. You know, when they don't understand your child is autistic and that your child is trying to regulate himself. He's going through something and he's in a setting with a lot of people. He's trying to process it. He's trying to get through it. It's a new setting. He's going through a change where he's trying to get himself through this whole situation in this new setting with entirely new people he's not used to seeing. These things can cause a shift in the behavior where he's getting a little frustrated, a little antsy because he's trying to figure out what's going on here. You know, even around people that he used to being around sometimes. You put him around new people, you're like, yo, what's going on? The scenery just changed, especially if he sleep in the car, he wake up somewhere else. What is going on? Even when he goes to a new setting and he walks into a house, even if he's been awake, he kind of got to regulate himself and trying to figure out what's happening here. You know, and at first, when he was first little, when he was not first little, he's still 3 years old, right? Even though he's a lot taller than a lot of other 3-year-olds are. You know, it's because my dad is like 6'4", 6'3". My brother's 6'4", my dad's 6'3". I'm not, but you know, hey, it skipped over me at my mom. I got my mama's height. But anyway, so yeah, you know, I used to worry about, man, are people going to be looking and staring at me if I can't calm him down, if I can't relax him? Or what are they going to think? Are they going to think that, you know, I'm not a good parent? I don't know what I'm doing. Are they going to be looking at my child, judging him, etc.? And I had to push that out the window because my child is going to be in this world and other people are going to have to just get used to it. It's autistic people in this world that, you know, they operate differently. And it is what it is. And the world will have to understand that it's autistic children in this world, and it's a way that they have to be treated and cared for. And you don't look at them like, you know, oh my God, they're unruly. Because sometimes they're just trying to figure things out and trying to regulate themselves. You know what I mean? So as a father of a 3-year-old autistic son, a beautiful, brilliant baby boy who's a joy, one of the joys of my life. Him and his sister, his older sister, are the two biggest joys of my life. You know, I love them babies out loud, and I'm going to keep loving them out loud. And I'm going to take my boy where I want to take him. You know what I mean? And he going to be in this world. But while he's in this world, it is a worry of yours if people are going to care for him and love him the same way you love him. You know? And because that is always something that I always think about, regardless of what happens. I always think about those things. If I'm leaving my child in the care of this individual, is he going to love my son and be patient with my son the same way I'm patient with him, the same way his mother is patient with him, the same way his mother loves him and I love him and his grandmother loves him and his aunties love him? You know what I mean? These are worries and concerns, and they're all valid. They're valid. And if you're a parent of an autistic child, I know that they're valid concerns, and I'm telling you, sending my love and to you all, because I know it's difficult. It's difficult trying to, you know, educate the world about autism while at the same time getting your child to function in these different scenarios and settings that they're not used to, and getting them through these different interactions that may be overstimulating, etc. You know, but these are concerns of parents. Like, man, you know, and that's what I always think about, you know, wherever he's going, man. Sometimes, like, man, I want my boy. I don't want nobody doing nothing wrong to my boy because he can't communicate and tell me what's going on if somebody's mistreating him. He cannot. At least he can't now. I have faith that he will, for sure. And I know God will keep my baby covered. and keep his hands on my family and my son. But at the same time, you worry about these things. You know what I mean? And so I was like, man, I remember when he first was going to school, that was a reckless day for me and his mom, but I had to do my best to keep his mom comforted and allow and try to let her know everything gonna be okay. But in my mind, I'm thinking the same thing she thinking. I'm not showing it because I don't want her to feel like I'm worrying too, and then we just be a worrying mess all together. But I had those same concerns. I just trust in God, and trust my gut feeling about places that he's in, and people that he's with. But yeah, these are all valid concerns people have. But I want my child treated right, and that's why it's important for everybody for parents to educate their children about people with developmental delays, etc. Because they exist in this world, and you don't want nobody or no other children messing with them and picking with them, or you know what I mean. And adults need to educate themselves as well, because a lot of y'all have not had practice dealing with autistic children, and there have been an abundance of autistic children as of recent years. They've been, autistic children have been around for a while, but what I'm saying is that we've seen we've had more research about it as of lately, and we've seen kids with it more as of lately over the years, as the years has gone on. And so yeah, man, I think parents should educate themselves even if you don't have an autistic child. And you should also educate your children about people with developmental disabilities and developmental delays, etc., so that they're aware that they're people too. They just operate differently. They think differently a little bit, and they interact differently. But they're people too, and they should be treated with love and care and empathy. So I know my thoughts have been all over the place, but these are my feelings about these things. And my classmate wrote this, my Facebook friend. All these feelings came to me when she wrote this status, and you like, man, you want to make sure your baby is being loved and cared on appropriately, man. That's what you really, really feel. Machiavelli Mills TV, y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank y'all for listening. I appreciate you. Peace.